and welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome here to Game Week. That's right, Barcelona will return to action this week, and how long we've waited to say those words. In today's video, we are going to be talking about this morning's training session when a certain someone returned to the full training. We're also going to be talking about some important words from Setien. He was speaking last night to the media and he gave some very, very interesting insights ahead of Saturday's game. And we're also going to be talking about the latest from the Spanish media as they begin to report what Saturday's lineup will be. It's all coming up in today's video. Let's get to it. But if we start there with this morning's training session, because the preparation is well and truly underway now, both out on the pitch and training this morning, and also here on the channel, because there is so much coming up for you this week, and every single day is going to be very, very important there as we build up to Saturday's game against Mallorca. But like I say, their training was on this morning. The players there were out in their numbers because Lionel Messi is back in the session with the rest of the group, and he trained absolutely fine in full this morning, as did Nelson Semedo. He also returned to training with the rest of the group, and also youngster Monchu, who actually returned much earlier than was expected there from his recent injury. So right now, Setien looking good in terms of his options. The players there returning just in time now to start building up to that fixture. We've got to be careful, of course, in this week's training, but the players will be back in tomorrow morning as the preparation continues with every single minute now. It's so key ahead of Saturday's return, and we cannot wait. But I want to move on now to the words of Setien. Like I say, we're speaking to the media last night, and it was interesting to see some of his answers there to the questions that he was asked. First of all, of course, he was asked very directly about the fitness of Lionel Messi. Is he going to be okay to play against Mallorca on Saturday? Setien said Messi isn't the only player who hasn't trained due to some discomfort. He said it's happened to many of the players during the training sessions, but he said these are very minor problems. We've controlled them. Messi is perfectly well, and he won't have any problem to face Mallorca on Saturday. Messi is fine. Messi is ready. So are we. Setien was also asked there about the fitness of Luis Suarez, and in particular whether he'd be ready to start the game against Mallorca on Saturday, to which he said there, Suarez has done so much good work. He said he's actually better than we expected him to be at this point. He said the other day at the Camp Nou when we were in training, he posted some fantastic stats, and of course he also scored in that training session match. He said the question is though, right now, whether or not he'll be able to start the game, or whether he'll come off the bench to have an impact. He said we'll have to wait and see. We will continue to evaluate his progress. So Setien, they're not completely convinced that Suarez will be able to start the game. There's certainly contrasting views right now across the media on whether or not Suarez will be in that team, as we're going to come on to later on in the video. But Setien was then asked in particular about the possibility of resting certain players during the hectic period that we are going to see come over the remainder of the season. In particular, how he was planning on managing there the minutes of the aging players that we have in our team. Setien said there, normally in pre-season, he said you play games, you rotate, and then you see how each of the players are feeling and how many minutes they've had. But he said right now, it's a different kind of situation. He said we're going to have to see how the games play out. We're going to monitor each player's situation individually. He said we're going to have to wait and see how they progress because every player is different. And I think that's certainly something to note there, because every single player are going to have different recovery times. Some players will kick straight back into action. Some players may take longer than others to get fully up to speed. And I think from the word go, we're going to have to assess here who's ready, who's not, who can be counted on, and ultimately as well, who might need a little bit of rest along the way. Setien once again did reiterate that he'd have liked a little more time in training ahead of La Liga's return. He said we could have done with one more week to work there as a full team. He said we've had little time to work there in the full group, and it would have allowed us to adapt better and potentially allowed us to avoid more injuries. But he did once again praise the attitude and the application to the players. He said the team is doing really well with the work we've been doing. He said we're in a good mental state. That is good to hear. He said the players have had a lot of enthusiasm. They're motivated to go out and play. He said it's been good for us, the break, because the players do get tired. He said it's been a very different time to other years in their careers. Right now, they have a special extra bit of motivation. to go out and play. One of the most intriguing answers, though, for me came when Setien was asked whether he'd use the break to try and work on some changes, perhaps to the style of play, to the team, and also maybe there to do something different to what we saw before the break on our return to football. But Setien here was defiant in his answer, and indeed defiant in his approach. He said something different? I don't think so. He said we are going to stay on the same path. We are happy with the path that we've chosen, but what we're going to do is do better than what we've been doing before. The break has given us time to analyse many things, to prepare ourselves as coaches, as players, to improve, and it's allowed us time now to transfer all of that analysis to the players to carry forward onto the field. And as you can see there, Setien crystal clear in the style of play that he wants to bring, but as you've heard right throughout the preparation stage, yes, we're going to keep those fundamentals, we are going to keep there that core of the way we've been playing, but we've got to do it better. We have to have there more intensity, more conviction, more consistency, and that's the key here. We've got to build on what Setien started, because when he came in, we saw improvements, we saw things that were certainly better than when Valverde was here, but it's all about building on that now. We've had a bit more time, a bit more preparation. Now we need to see the evolution of that style. That's important. And just as I did say before, guys, now we are entering game week. Now this game against Mallorca, it is a matter of days away, and already the Spanish media are starting to discuss exactly what Setien's lineup will be, with Sport here coming out this morning with the big headline, Setien plan, and we're going to be focusing there on their report and what they believe the lineup there in Setien's first game back will be there against Mallorca. In goal, of course, it is going to be Marc-Andre ter Stegen. No surprises there. I think we can absolutely guarantee that is going to be the case. And also at left back, Jordi Alba, they say, will be the starting left back in this game. And once again, providing, of course, there's no injury problems, you would expect that certainly to be the case. Now, yesterday we did discuss at length about that right back position. They say it will be Sergio Roberto, which I think certainly there is something that will divide opinions. Some people believe that Semedo should undoubtedly be in the team. Some people believe that due to his transfer situation, maybe Roberto is the better choice right now. But Sport believe that Roberto will get the nod, at least for this game, over Semedo. At centre-back there, Piqué will undoubtedly start there as the right centre-back. And importantly, you've got to remember there that Clement Longley will be suspended for the game against Mallorca. So providing he's all fine, Samuel Umtiti, Sports say, will start alongside Piqué there at the heart of our defence in a back four. Now, moving into midfield, they say that Sergio Busquets will start there in the holding midfield role. Setien, a massive fan of Busquets, that doesn't really surprise me in any capacity. Alongside him there in an interior position, it will be Frenkie de Jong there. A lot of people hoping that maybe throughout the season, with the games to come, if we have to rest Busquets, maybe we can see a little bit more of de Jong there in that holding role. We're going to have to wait and see whether that happens. But then who is going to be that third man in midfield? We were discussing this yesterday. It is something certainly that is open there. There's Vidal, there's Arthur, there's Rakitic, there's even Ricky Puig. Sport believe it will be, at least for the first game, Arturo Vidal and not Arthur Melo there in that third midfield role. Vidal there to give us an outlet going forward, potentially, is the reasoning there from Quique Setien. And then we do move on to the front three. That is going to be the all-important positions there that are capable of winning any game. Messi will start the game, according to Sport there, no doubt at all. They say that he's absolutely adamant that he doesn't want to miss here the return game, and he is going to start the game there against Mallorca. Alongside him is going to be Antoine Griezmann. They are convinced there that Griezmann will be in the starting lineup, either there out to the left-hand side or more central, because that final striker role, they're not sure. They admitted that was the one position in the team right now. They're not exactly sure which way Setien is going to go. We've heard already in today's video, there is doubt about Suarez, whether he can play from the start, and they actually say that if Suarez doesn't start the game, if he's not quite ready, that place there will go to Martin Braithwaite, who once again could get a massive opportunity in a Barcelona shirt. So that there, guys, is the rumoured lineup from Sport with regard to Quique Setien's plans for the opening game against Mallorca. But I do have to stress that is just one single report. Right throughout this week, I'm going to be bringing you more news. Of course, we're going to hear more opinion from all the local media sources in Barcelona. So I will keep you right up to date with any team news at all coming right there. But if that was to be the team, what would your thoughts be on that lineup? Is there anything you'd change? Maybe the structure, maybe personnel? Let me know in the comments down below. But like I say, all the latest, I'll keep you right updated. There's plenty to come on the channel. La Liga will begin on Thursday. Barcelona will be back on Saturday. What a week of football we have to come. It's finally here, guys. Can you believe it? Oh, it's brilliant. Thanks as always for watching. Now, the fun is really about to begin. I'll see you soon, but until next time, as always, Visca el Barça.